Hello and a warm welcome to today's webinar, Recognition of Foreign Qualifications. This is how it works. Yeah, my name is Marlene Schimpf. I work as a consultant at Make It in Germany, and I'm here today with my colleague Katharina Pawki, who's navigating the chat. And yeah, we are delighted that you are all here and hope that you can benefit from some valuable tips today. We always receive a lot of questions concerning the recognition of foreign qualifications, so we are really happy to have two experts here today, Leila Hujic and Denise Eichhorn from ProRecognition from the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry. But before we get started, I will now give you a few brief technical tips. And Katharina, I hope you can see my screen. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so some of you might have some audio problems, and it's always helpful to turn on the audio and turn off the audio and turn it on again, and then maybe the problem is already solved. Yeah, you can type in your question via chat, but only the moderators can see your question. At the end, we will have a Q&A session, and yeah, we will try to answer as many questions as possible, but please be aware, we are nearly 1,000 people in this webinar today, so unfortunately we cannot answer all your questions. So we will collect and categorize the most common questions and put them in the Q&A session at the end. And for really personal cases, please seek advice. We have a lot of information in today's presentation and hope afterwards you can make use of them. And you can download the presentation today directly here in your user panel and go to webinar under handouts. And we have a lot of links in the presentation also for consultation services. So yeah, it's useful to download the presentation and click on the links afterwards. This webinar will be recorded and updated on our YouTube channel in a few days. So yeah, you can check it out and maybe watch it again if you have further questions. Yeah, so this is today's agenda. At first, I will start what is Make It in Germany with a brief introduction to our portal, and then I will hand over to the colleagues from ProRecognition, who will also explain the recognition process in more detail. And at the end, we will have the Q&A session. But yeah, and as a little hint, at the end of this webinar, you will receive a feedback form, and it would be really great if you could fill out this form and send it back to us. We would appreciate it, to improve our webinars continuously and based on your feedback. Yeah, and before we get started with the Make It in Germany portal, we are curious and want to get to know you better, how much you already know about us. So let me start a quick survey. Yeah, so are you already familiar with our portal? Okay, I'll wait a bit. Okay, many of you have already voted. Let's wait a couple more seconds. Okay, great. Then here are the results. So 55% already knows our portal, but there are also people who don't know our portal, or maybe just a little bit. So I will make it quick, but hope it's useful to get some basic information. Okay, so what is Make It in Germany? Make It in Germany is the government's official information portal for skilled workers, but also for German employers. Yeah, it's been running since June 2012 and is available in 4 languages: German, English, Spanish, and French. And we provide short information in 17 other languages. And since 2012, we have over 80 million users worldwide. So yeah, Make It in Germany provides all the information you need to know about working and living in Germany. We have a job listings, for example, I will come back to it later. And then we have really reliable information on entry and visa regulations. We have yeah, checklists, we have graphics, explainer videos, so everything you need to know and enhance some formats. Yeah, we have more information on recognition of foreign qualifications. I will come to it as well later. We have information on learning German, facts about living in Germany, and also living in Germany with your family. And as I already said, information for German employer. Yeah, we provide detailed information about recognition and have a recognition section on our website. As you can see, everywhere here are links, so you can afterwards just click on them. And yeah, we have explainer videos on recognition, and we also have instructions how to use the Anabin database. Yeah, we know it's not easy and it's only available in German, so we have an explainer video and instructions in English for you. Yeah, that it's easier for you to use the Anabin database to compare your higher foreign qualifications. Yeah, and here's a little list of all contact services and information for recognition. Everywhere are links as well. So if you want to seek personal advice, yeah, maybe here is a link that is really helpful for you. Yeah, and as I already said, Make It in Germany provides official visa information that are binding and reliable. And yeah, all our information are continuously updated. And for example, the amended Skilled Immigration Act is already included, so all information are up to date. And for example, we provide information about the opportunity card. Unfortunately, there are many misleading information online. So if you visit our website, these are the correct information. And we also have a self-check tool for you. It's non-binding, for free and individual, and you can test if you are eligible for the opportunity card. Yeah, apart from that, we have further information material, for example, explainer videos for the EU Blue Card, and yeah, all the other titles with the new Skilled Immigration Act. And as I already said, we have a lot of job listings on our portal, and yeah, German employers who are open for international skilled workers publish their oh, maybe you don't see right now the job listings. Maybe it's a bit slow here. Yeah, but in our job listings, there are German employers who are open for international skilled workers publish their adverts. And yeah, you can filter by now you can see it, I guess. You can filter by various sectors, for example, healthcare, IT, construction, and so on. And yeah, then you can also subscribe to our job newsletter. It's free of charge, like all our services. And then you get continuously updates if there are new jobs in this sector available. And according to a study, 4 out of 10 internationals have found their job who visited our website via this job listing. So yeah, you should definitely try it out and check it out. And last but not least, yeah, we also have a news section for recruitment agencies. We know that many of you use the support services of recruitment agencies, but unfortunately, not all of them are trustworthy. So we have a news section where we inform you also about state-run possibilities and yeah, what you should be aware of when you want to use use the support services of recruitment agencies. Yeah, and now my last slide is a little teaser. So on the 28th of August, we have another webinar for you. It's a reality check about living and working in Germany as an engineer. And Chris from Costa Rica and his wife Carolina will talk about their personal experiences here in Germany. So you can already register for it on our website. And yeah, we hope to see you there. And yeah, here now you can see the slide, I hope. And then I'm already done. I will hand over to my colleagues from ProRecognition. But before they will start, we have another small survey for you, so that also, yeah, we know more concerning recognition, how is your actual status quo, and so on. So I will start this survey now. Okay, you are starting your votes. We wait a bit. 40% of you have voted. Let's hit the maybe 70% so that our colleagues from ProRecognition get to know you better. Okay. Yeah, thank you for participating. Here are the results. So really nearly half of you come from IT or engineering. That's quite interesting. Yeah, 10% healthcare, 11% economics and others, and yeah, 25% others. Okay, great, thank you. Then we have another survey. So how would you rate your German language skills? Okay, I wait a bit more seconds. 60% have already voted. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, most of you don't have any German language skills yet, but some have A1 or even B2 or B2 or higher. Okay. And now the last question. Are you already familiar with ProRecognition? Okay, 50% have voted. I wait a bit more. Okay. So 62% of you don't know ProRecognition yet. So I guess it's a great opportunity, this webinar today. Yeah, 24% are not sure and 14% already knows the services. Okay, yeah, thank you for the participation. Yeah, then I will stop sharing my screen and hand over to my colleague. Okay, Denise.
Okay, we can start okay. I guess. You can hear me, I hope. Thank you very much, Marlene. Well, I'm very pleased that we have so many participants today. And as you said, it's a good opportunity to present our services to everyone. My name is Leila Hujic, and I'm part of the ProRecognition steering team here in Berlin. I've joined this Berlin team in April 2024, where I'm responsible for training of our new advisors, recognition advisors at ProRecognition, but I've also been working on the project since 2021, and in my previous role, I managed the Advice Center for the Western Balkans region, and I was a recognition advisor myself. Here with me today is my colleague Denise, who runs our Advice Center in India. So Denise, perhaps you would like to say a few words yourself.
Yes, thank you, Leila. Yes, my name is Denise. I'm the head of ProRecognition here in India. So I'm the only one presenting today who's joining this webinar not from Germany. I'm located in Mumbai. And yes, we are here to advise people in India. But what I will be explaining today is applicable for certification all around the world. And I've been with the project now for 3 years.
Okay, so I guess now we can start our presentation.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen now. I think it's taking just a minute to load.
Now we can see your screen.
Yes, okay.
Hey.
Okay. Today in the first part of our presentation, we will introduce you to our counseling services and present how ProRecognition can support you actually. And in the second part, we will talk about the different recognition procedures and the individual steps you need to take. So at first, let's take a look at who we actually are. So please, next slide. ProRecognition was launched in 2015. This is a project of the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and it's being coordinated by its own project company, DIHK Service GmbH, and funded by the Federal Ministry of Education and Research. The project, it was set up with the aim of establishing advice centers within German Chambers of Commerce abroad, the so-called AHK, maybe you've seen the sign somewhere, and it was set up in order to provide free and reliable guidance and support during the qualification recognition process and afterwards to professionals from all academic and vocational backgrounds. So on the next slide, you can also see our locations worldwide. As you can see, we have 9 advice centers in 9 countries, and these are Algeria, Brazil, Colombia, Egypt, India, and since 2024, we have 4 new locations in Indonesia, Morocco, Philippines, and Turkey. Some of our advice centers also cover some other countries. So for example, skilled workers from Tunisia, Chile, Ecuador, Venezuela, Peru, and Lebanon can also be advised in our centers. For professionals who have obtained their qualifications or finished their studies in other countries, there are other sources of information, as we've already seen, and we will later on see as well. And to give you an insight into our work, each counseling center has 1 to 5 recognition advisors, mostly 2 or 3, and they provide on-site counseling, but also online by video call, email, by phone, so you don't necessarily need to visit us or our centers. So let's see what we have accomplished so far. When it comes to our work, so far we have advised more than 30, well actually 3 right now, 1,000 people, including all kinds of professions. So our advisors have a lot of experience, a broad range of experience when it comes to professional recognition from the countries we cover. of these people that we have advised. We until today we have actually more than 9,600 have applied for recognition, and more than actually 7,000 have received a positive recognition decision. So this is the data we have today. So at least 2,200 people until today have already come to Germany and have started to work here. But I say at least because the people are not obliged to contact us when they apply for recognition or receive recognition, a recognition decision, or migrate to Germany. So therefore, we assume much, much higher numbers. So next slide, please. As you probably know, during the recognition process, as well as the migration process, you have to deal with different questions and authorities, like when it comes to learning the German language, fulfilling the requirements for the visa, or getting a labor market admission. So we can actually help you with all these topics because we have a broad cooperation network with all the important authorities, like the ones who actually carry out the recognition procedure for the German or the German embassies for the visa issuance, and authorities like the ones or the employment agency, the German employment agency, language institutes like the Goethe Institute. So we can support you in various ways. You don't have to deal with these questions yourself. But how can we actually help you with recognition in concrete terms? We can see on the next slide. So there are some questions you need to answer which are related to recognition, and we will help you with these questions. Like, for example, is my qualification even eligible for recognition? Do you fulfill the criteria for applying for recognition? Or what is the appropriate reference occupation? The reference occupation is the German profession that will be compared to your qualification. And this is the one that's most similar to your qualification. It's a very important, crucial step in the whole process. Furthermore, we will help you define the right competent authority. So we will explain where you can apply and how you can apply for recognition. Which documents do you need? Do you have to translate the documents? Do they have to be notarized? How long will the procedure take? How much money do you have to pay? So these are all the questions that we can help you find answers. And as I already said, our advisors have quite an experience when it comes to recognition of qualifications from the countries that we cover. So we can also tell you, assess or predict somehow what are your chances to get full recognition. Sometimes maybe you will get a partial recognition, but that's not a bad thing. So in this case, we can also explain what are the next steps and what you can do in order to get full recognition. But apart from that, we also do more. So next slide, please. Consulting and support regarding professional recognition is, of course, our core competence, I would say, but we also offer support on all migration-related topics. Like, for example, we provide counseling on all immigration options of the Skilled Workers Immigration Act. We will inform you on language requirements and help you find the right language course, for example. Most of our advice centers offer some workshops like on applying for jobs and job search or various pre-integration courses. We organize together with our partners like regional German chambers or welcome centers in Germany. We organize meet and greet events in order to make contacts between skilled workers and potential German employers, so German companies. We inform you about the visa requirements, and we also advise on family reunification for spouses of skilled workers. So next slide, please. The next question, of course, is what are the requirements for consulting with us? And as I already mentioned, we advise on all professional qualifications, but you should have obtained your qualification in one of the countries we cover, because our advisors specialize in the education systems of these countries. Your German language skills should be at least at level A2. So we always recommend to first learn the language, because the language is the basis for everything, your job search, your life in Germany, and you will just have a better start if you at least have some basic knowledge. So this is the next tip for you, or a recommendation. If you already have a job offer, you will be treated as priority, and in this case, it doesn't matter what level of German language you have. Okay, so now here's an overview of the main steps or stations in the recognition process. At the beginning, you have to determine the reference occupation. I already mentioned this is really crucial to find the right profession, reference profession or occupation. And when we have determined that, then we can find out who is in charge, who will carry out this recognition procedure. After we have found out what is the competent authority, you have to compile your documents, fill out the application form. This can sometimes be filled out online, sometimes it cannot. You will submit your application form with the documents. It's also very different from one authority to another, so it's always crucial to see what is the procedure for this specific case. The competent authority then will take some time to assess your qualification and to make a decision. Usually it should take up to 3 months, but it's not always the case, so my colleague will also later tell you a little bit more about that. And after the decision has been made, you will receive a recognition notice. And in this recognition notice, you will hopefully get a full recognition, but sometimes you will also get a partial recognition, which is not bad, as I already said. And it just means you will have to take some adaptation measures, like maybe a knowledge test or an internship. And after that, you will have the opportunity to apply again for full recognition. So this is a short overview of the process, but now my colleague Denise will delve a little deeper into the topic of recognition, and she will also explain why recognition is actually important and show us also some concrete examples and cases. So Denise, please take over.
Thank you, Leila. Yes, I will explain the recognition process. Now, what exactly is it? So basically, the recognition process is evaluating a degree that was obtained outside of Germany to the German standard. Now, if you imagine in Germany, somebody would learn a certain craft or trade or profession, and when they learn this, they would cover the topics A, B, C, D. Now, if somebody has a similar qualification, but they've learned this trade or profession outside of Germany, they will also covering some points that are covered in Germany. They might be covering, for example, A, C, D, E. Now you can see some of these points are covered in both countries and some of these points are different. Now, the recognition process is comparing the German and the foreign qualification with each other and identifying what are the differences, what exactly makes the qualification the same or partially the same. So this would be then partially equivalent, and what exactly are the deficits. Yeah, there are many reasons why you would want to have a recognition. First, it is a visa requisite. So this means when you apply for visa for employment in Germany, the embassy, the consulates will ask for your recognition, otherwise they won't issue a visa. Then it's also really important for all regulated professions. I'll explain later what exactly are regulated professions. But for now, this is one of the reasons why you want to have a recognition. Then also really important, it gives you the right to use a professional title. You would want to use a title such as doctor or call yourself a lawyer, and for that you need the recognition process. Also really important, it gives a lot of transparency, not just for you, but also if you put yourself in the shoes of a German employer, a German company, and they receive a CV from somebody who's from abroad, and they see the qualification and they've never heard of the title, they've never heard of the university or what exactly this is. And then if you have a recognition process, if you have a recognition certificate, it gives you a stamp by a German authority that says this is comparable to this German standard. Also, if you want to pursue any more advanced vocational training, it's going to be important for you to have the recognition in order to prove that you are allowed to attend this kind of training. And it also gives you better chances on the German job market. So because employers then know what it is, and because they also know you have the right title to actually go to Germany and work over there, you will have better chances when you send out those applications. And also really important, you of course want a decent pay, and the recognition process says that you are qualified to do a job and hence you deserve a certain pay. Yes, now we'll look a little bit more onto deciding what exactly is the right process for your individual qualifications. We all have different CVs, we all have done different things at the beginning of our careers, so there are a lot of different ways to go about recognition and authorities who are responsible depending on the qualification that you have. So the first step is that you need to ask yourself if your qualification is recognized by the state, by the government in your home country. This is a really, really important requirement for it to be recognized in Germany. Yeah, if your qualification is from a private institute that is not recognized by the government, it can't be recognized in Germany. Okay, now if this is the case, then you need to ask yourself next if you want to work or are working in a regulated profession. Yeah, regulated professions are all professions that give you a certain degree of agency over other people. So for example, if you work in healthcare, all doctors, nurses, dentists, pharmacists, they have very specific requirement what these people need to know before they are allowed to work in Germany, and hence it's considered a regulated profession. The same is for any law degrees. That's really important that people are familiar with the laws. If you want to work as an engineer and want to be calling yourself a consulting engineer, beratender Ingenieur, that would also be considered then a regulated profession. If you work as a chartered accountant and give financial advice, this would be considered regulated. If you are a teacher in a public school, that would also be considered regulated. If you are an architect and also want to call yourself an architect, that would also be considered regulated, as well as psychologists. Now, if this is the case, if you recognize yourself within these kind of professions, then the next step for you is to realize that the authority will depend on the region where you want to work in Germany and the exact profession. Now, within the regulated profession, there are a lot of different authorities that are responsible for the recognition process. Even though I'm very familiar with recognition overall, if somebody comes from these professions to us, we will always go back to the Anerkennung in Deutschland website, and look over there what exactly would be the right authority and the right contact person there. So there is a website called Anerkennung in Deutschland, and there you can look up very specifically, like what is the region you want to go, what is the profession that you want to work in, and that will give you the exact detail where you need to apply for the recognition. Yeah, it's called Anerkennung in Deutschland. I do have the links on a later slide for everyone. Now, if you are not part of these professions, you didn't recognize yourself. So for example, you work as an IT software developer. Then the next question that you need to ask yourself is your qualification academic. Academic means that it's from a university or comparable. Now, if that is the case, then the next step that you want to take is asking yourself if your degree is listed on ANABIN as H+, and your institute also needs to be listed on ANABIN as H+. Yeah, this is really important. Both need to be on ANABIN. And again, how to use ANABIN, Make It in Germany, has a very, very good video online with an explanation how this database works and how you can extract the right information out of it for your specific degree. So we recommend to use the sources, the information that is already out there for it. Now, ANABIN is a database. It basically lists foreign universities and compares them to German qualification. H+ means it's equivalent. H+- means it's only conditional comparable. It's important, I already said that, but I'm saying it again. The degree and institute both must be checked. Yeah, both together. If everything is there as H+, then you don't have a problem. Your academic qualification are already recognized, so you don't have to worry. However, if your degree is H+- or not listed as at all, then you would need a statement of comparability from ZAB. Yeah, statement of comparability is comparing academic degree to German standards, and there they give information whether this is comparable to Germany, and this is what you then would have to apply for if you're not listed on ANABIN or if you're listed on ANABIN as H+-. Okay, right. Now we are going back to your qualification if it's not academic. So if you don't have an academic degree, but you have some kind of vocational training or education, if you have something that is more, for example, a diploma qualification, anything that is not academic, then there are two options. You need to decide whether your profession is part of the craft trades or not. Now, this goes back to the fact how German's education system has been grown, and there developed that some professions belong to the craft and some professions belong to the industry and commerce part. And that's basically how those authorities, recognition authorities, are now still distinguished. Part of the craft trades are various. So for example, plumber or tailor or baker are part of the craft. Also, if you work as a mechatronics with vehicles, hairdresser, metal workers like welders, carpenter, bricklayers, and many, many more. So that again is something that you can look up online. What does your craft, what does your trade belong to? And again, for this, what Leila already mentioned, it's really important that you understand what is your reference profession, what is your profession that you're doing right now in your home country, what is this in Germany, to then decide what is the authority for you. Yeah, on the other hand are the professions that are not part of the craft. These are, for example, bank clerks, anybody who's in a sales position, somebody who has vocational education in IT, so like software development or fixing hardware in IT, mechatronics technician or any kind of electricians who work in an industry application, or machine operators in the industry, or cooks, waiter, and hotel executives. Those are part of the IHK trades. Okay, now once you have figured out where you belong to, if you're part of the craft trades, then the craft chambers, Handwerkskammer, they depend on the regions where you want to go. So again, you would have to know who's going to be your employer and where they're located, or you would have to know what is your favorite regions where you want to go, because maybe you have already some relatives there, and then decide on based on the region where to go there. Now, if this is not part of if you're not part of the craft trades, then the IHK FOSA is responsible for nearly all application in the IHK professions, and this one is centralized, so there's only one responsible for nearly all of Germany. Okay, this brings us to the end of this tree. As mentioned, I do have all the links here for the respective authorities or where to find out more about what exactly is responsible for you. As mentioned, you can download the presentation right now here in GoToWebinar and check it out later. Okay, then I'm now coming to the next part, which is how do you submit this application and what do you do once you receive the results? Now, the documents, the exact documents depend again, who's the authority that you're applying for. But in general, there's always some kind of application form that you have to fill out yourself. Then you will always have to submit your degree certificates and academic transcripts. These might require translation. Again, it depends on the authority. You normally always have to submit a passport or some kind of form of national ID card. You have to submit, in many cases, your curriculum or syllabus of the program of your qualification. So they understand what exactly did you learn when you did this qualification, what was the content that you have studied or learned, any kind of professional experiences or internships if they were part of your training can be submitted and are also considered in most of the applications. And for some recognition processes, you would also need a language certificate to be submitted with your application. Now, how long does this recognition process take? That really depends on the authority. It is nothing that happens overnight, so expect at least 3 months, sometimes 6 months, sometimes even longer. And this is also something at ProRecognition when we have those consultations with candidates and we know who is their authority, we can tell from our experience or the last time a candidate applied there, we know that it took whatever 3.5 months, and we can give you these kind of information when we speak to candidates personally. Now, what are the possible results of a recognition process? There are 2 good options, which is a full recognition. This means everything is the same. Your qualification is deemed equivalent to Germany, which is great. And the other one would be a partial recognition, or you get a statement on deficit, which is also still great. It still says that your qualification is comparable. This also still allows you to travel to Germany and in most cases start working there. However, once you are in Germany, you would have to fulfill certain conditions to achieve a full recognition. This could be something like an additional training or course, some more practical experience, or in some cases, like in the healthcare sector, you would have to give your language proof or show that you are, or do a language exam to show that you're fluent. And in very rare cases, there might be no recognition, but we see when you normally check beforehand that your qualification can be recognized. In most cases, there would be at least a partial recognition. Right. Now, of course, the recognition notice, because there's so many authorities, they always look a little bit different, but just to give you a little bit of an understanding what the recognition notice looks like, and also because these always come in German, I just give 2 examples here. So there's always an application number. This is really, really important because if there's anything that you want to ask, any questions that you have in the process, anything you later on want to submit as a follow-up application or such thing, any kind of communication you want to have, you always need the application number. Then there's a contact person or the person who has worked on this recognition notice. They are going to be mentioned on the notice. You have the headline, the notice, what exactly it is, what they decided about. Then you always have the reference profession. So as mentioned, this is important that you know at the beginning what exactly is your profession, and they'll also mention it in the notice. You have the results, such as partial recognition, teilweise gleichwertig, or full recognition, volle Gleichwertigkeit, volle Anerkennung. And on later pages, there are normally also identified the adjustment measures needed to get a full recognition or the deficits that are identified. Yeah, again, from other authorities, this might look different, but these are the points that you normally will always find on a recognition notice. Okay, then very quickly, because just to mention it, there are also options to work in Germany without a recognition. So one of these options is the recognition partnership, Anerkennungspartnerschaft. This means that you do the recognition, but after you arrive to Germany. So this is a visa type that allows you to travel to Germany and start working and then apply for recognition. Then there's also the exception for professionally experienced professionals. This means that you need to have at least 2 years of work experience in the profession that you want to work in. Your salary needs to be above 41,000 euros per year, or as per collective agreement. It's important that your qualification is recognized in the home country so that you do have a qualification, and it was at least 2 years duration when you have the training. And for that, you would have to apply for the statement on foreign vocational qualification at the ZAB. This is not the same as a recognition. This is just a statement that your qualification is recognized in the home country, and this allows you for these specific visa types to use it. And then there's also the Chancencard, opportunity card, that was recently launched. The qualification, again, needs to be recognized in the home country and must have had a duration of at least 2 years. And also here you need the statement of foreign vocational qualification at the ZAB. And then there are also exceptions for IT professionals, where you can travel to Germany and work there based on your work experience. Okay, now really quickly, we have some case studies just to give you a feeling of how things work in practice. The first one is a physiotherapist. This was Yvonne. She had a bachelor and a master of physiotherapy and around 3 years of work experience. She is living in Bangalore and has learned German already until the B1 level. And she got a job offer from a clinic in Dresden that is in Saxony in Germany. And then together with her, we went through the Anerkennung in Deutschland portal to choose the right authority and also to guide her through all the documents that she needed. She then got her documents translated and applied for recognition in August 23, so last year. And while she was waiting for the recognition, she continued to learn her German, and she's now reached a B2 level. And she got the full recognition in April 2024, and then she also had to submit her B2 certificate for receiving the notice. With that, she could travel to Germany, and over there she still had to get a medical fitness confirmation from a doctor in Germany before she received her professional license, her Berufserlaubnis, to actually start working in Germany. Yeah, so really important to notice. There's a specific authority for the specific place where she wants to work, and it took quite long, but she really used the time and continued learning her German, and with that she then could start working in Germany. And again, this is just an example. It doesn't mean that all bachelors of physiotherapy would get the recognition. This is a very specific case. And then one more case study. This is Rahul. He has been working as a CNC machinist for around 4 years in Kolkata in India. And he visited a government recognized institute, and that was a duration of 3 years. And there he learned all the skills that he needed to be a CNC machinist. He then received a job offer from a small company in Bremen, so northern Germany. And together we helped him identify that his reference profession would be a Zerspannungsmechaniker. Yeah, so similar to CNC machinist, but a little bit different. And this is a profession that belongs to IHK. So this was then the jurisdiction of the IHK FOSA. There he applied for the recognition in November 2023, and he received his partial recognition in June. So also did take some time. That is the case, unfortunately, at the moment at the IHK FOSA. And with his partial recognition and an IT certificate, he then applied for visa. And now he'll soon travel to Germany. And when he reaches there and starts working, he would still have to go through the adjustment measures to get a full recognition, but he can do that as on-the-job training. So no big training required. He just needs to do his normal job and will then receive a full recognition, hopefully a little later this year. Okay, now that was, I think, a lot of information. Now, if you're wondering what's next, and if you have the feeling that seems very, very difficult, don't worry, there's a lot of support out there. Of course, we are here from ProRecognition. We have the different locations, and some also do the neighboring countries. So please do visit our website and see who's the right ProRec contact for your specific country. And then there is also support from the Federal Employment Agency, the ZAB, part of the Bundesagentur für Arbeit, where you can get support for your recognition. And as mentioned, there is the Anerkennung in Deutschland portal, where you can really see who's the right authority, and there's a lot of guidance there towards how to apply for recognition and how to go about it. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. And I think we can start with the questions.
Thank you for the presentation and all the information gathered. We received so many questions. One disclaimer I had to the audience today: we're only answering questions today on the recognition process, not on job search in general or the opportunity card. I have provided some links in the chat so you can visit it afterwards, or go to our YouTube channel where we have also uploaded previous webinars on those topics. So let's start. We received some basic questions, and maybe you can clarify some points at the process. First of all, which was a common question on the translation of documents. Do I need to get my documents get translated? And if yes, how do I do that, or where do I do this?
I can say it depends. It's really, it depends on the case, depends on the profession, depends on the competent authority. Usually for the regulated professions, you need translation. In some other cases you don't, but it's really hard to give an answer which is valid for every case. So in every single individual case, we need to take a look who is in charge, who is the competent authority, what are the documents that need to be submitted, what is the form, do they need translation, is it translation from Germany or from the homeland? So it's really different.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, which we have received a lot, is when a person have, for instance, a bachelor and a master's degree or a PhD, do they need to get all the diplomas and qualifications recognized?
No, they do not. So if they have a bachelor and the master, they need one qualification recognized. And of course, we would recommend to get the highest qualification recognized. But if you say you have a bachelor that is listed on ANABIN as H+, that would be enough. Then you don't really have to worry about your master, even if that is not there. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Here we have a more specific question, maybe. I'm already in touch with your recognition organization. I have already received the recognition application. Before filling it, I would like to know, without the German language certificate, will you start with the recognition procedure?
I would say it really, again, it depends for the authorities. If this is in the regulated profession, so this is, for example, in healthcare, some authorities do, some say you can submit it, but we will wait until you give us the language certificate that we would start with it. If we talk about all the others, so for example, a statement of comparability from ZAB, IHK FOSA, or the CRAFT, they do not care for the language certificate. So there you can definitely submit it, even if you're still working on the German language skills.
Okay, thank you. We have also a lot of questions about citizens who don't live where ProRecognition Advisory Center is available. Do you have any tips where they can reach for more consulting on this topic?
As I already mentioned in the presentation, you don't have to come from these countries, but your qualification has to be from these countries, as we are special, our advisors specialize in the education systems from the countries we cover. And there are some additional ones that I also mentioned. If you come from some other country, you can consult, for example, Make It in Germany, but also Recognition, Anerkennung in Deutschland, Recognition in Germany, the portal. There are some other consulting points in Germany, like ZSBA. I don't know the translation right now, but maybe we can provide the link. So we would advise you to consult some, or there's a hotline also as well, living and working in Germany. So there are quite a lot of possibilities to get your information.
Thank you. Do we need to apply for recognition to authorities in Germany depending on the Bundesland we are living in? If the person is already in Germany?
Again, it depends on like who is the authority responsible for you, but if you are already living in Germany, then yes, there are authorities specific for the Bundesland that you live in, the region that you live in, and then you should apply over there. But again, it depends like who's the authority responsible. Some authorities are there who are responsible for all over Germany.
Thank you. Is the procedure totally online, or does the recognition process go through various offices in different regions?
Again, different regions have different authorities, so it depends on where you want to go. And to answer online, offline, some authorities have shifted completely online so that you can upload your documents online and submit everything online. Some authorities are still a little bit old school and they require you to actually send in hard copies. So that again depends on like who's the authority that you want to apply for.
Maybe just to add another information, I didn't mention it before, there are about at least 1,200 competent authorities. Sometimes they say there's 1,500. So it's really important to find out who is the competent authority who carries out this procedure, and to take a look what is the procedure, what documents you need, and so on. So many of our answers will be it depends, because it really depends on the case, the individual case, the profession, and the competent authority. That's why we are here. That's why ProRecognition provides these individual consulting sessions. We take a look at your diploma and other documents, and so we can assess what is the best way for you and what are the next steps.
Yeah, thank you for this information. I think you can, all the audience, get the feeling on how complicated the process is and how important good advice is on this process. Okay, one other quite popular question is, when a person uses the Anabin database and the university is listed at 8+, but the degree is not listed, what should the person do?
Yes, then they should apply for a statement of comparability by ZAB. The link again for exactly reaching the ZAB is in the presentation. You can download it and see over there, but that's what you would have to do if only one of these things is listed. So if only your degree is listed but not your university, or the other way around, your university is listed but your degree not, then you have to apply for the statement of comparability, Zeugnisbewertung in German.
Thank you. And maybe you can also again clarify on in which case you have to use the Anabin database. You have mentioned it before, but maybe you can clarify on which cases to use the Anabin database.
Yes, so you want to use it when you have an academic qualification, so something connected to university, and you're not part of the regulated profession. So for example, if you're an IT software developer, for you, if you are an engineer with like whatever automobile, mechanical, electrical, then Anabin would be for you, or any kind of comparable professions that is not part of the healthcare sector, that is not part of teaching or being a lawyer or an architect.
Okay, thank you. The next question, I have found it here, but unfortunately I've lost it. Okay, one question also of understanding, if your degree and university is listed on the Anabin database and your profession is not regulated, is this really enough at the embassy? Because there is also a lot of confusion if the receipt is enough for the application.
I can answer it from India because I'm very familiar with the Indian regulations for the visa laws. So in India, it's definitely enough. Unless you have a Bachelor of Science, then you would still need a statement of comparability. So in India, that's the only exception. But this is, again, for India, it's possible that other embassies or consulates have different decisions for their countries.
Maybe I can add my experience as well from the Western Balkans countries. This is also enough for the visa procedure. There's no need to if you're going to work in a non-regulated profession, then it should be enough.
Okay, thanks. Is it possible to get multiple qualification recognition in one go? For instance, I have a master's professional accountancy degree and also one accountancy degree from the UK and from Australia. Can all these be recognized in one single application?
I would say I don't think so. Why?
Yeah.
Well, if it's, can you repeat the qualifications, the diplomas, the degrees?
I have a master's in professional accountancy from University of London and an accountancy qualification of UK and also of Australia. So they are from 2 different countries.
Well, I would say, why would you want, at first I would check what is the status at Anabin database. Take a look whether you actually need some kind of recognition. If you want a statement of comparability, I would say it makes no sense to submit 3 diplomas. And if, in this case, it's a regulated profession, right?
I mean, it depends what this person wants to work in. If they want to work as, say, just in an accounting department of a bigger company, I don't think this would be considered regulated. If they want to call themselves a chartered accountant and Finanzberater and really be consulting other people, then this would be considered regulated profession. So then it depends on what is the job offer that you have or what is the intention as what you want to work in Germany. For the beginning, if I would have a recommendation, it would be to just do an accounting job in a bigger company, and then you can just go with ANAP into Germany. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you can see from the answers, it depends on many questions in the profession you want to work in, on your qualification itself, and that's why it's so good you participate today in our webinar to get the answers to those questions. And maybe you have some advice on how to get to know if your profession is regulated or not. People are asking for some resources. Maybe you have a tip for us?
Yes, as I and my colleague already mentioned, you can always consult this portal Anerkennung in Deutschland, Recognition in Germany. And the first step is to know your profession in Germany. And if you know it, then you can just find out over the portal. There is, I don't know whether we can share whether Katharina, you or Denise can share maybe the screen to find, to show how it works.
Yeah. Maybe Denise, you can show the website because now you have the rights to show.
Okay, yeah, right. And so the starting point is always the profession, but if you know the profession, then it's easily to find out whether it's regulated or not. You can find all the relevant information about the procedure for your job. You just have to know the occupation and the region you're going to work in. So this is the portal Anerkennung in Deutschland. There is this question, what is your profession? So as I said, you have to know your profession, the reference profession occupation in Germany. So if you take a look at, for example, nurse in this case, there are different types of nurses. So here is here are the information, and you, as I mentioned, you have to also give some city or region where you're working or where you intend to work and live. Okay, Berlin. Then you have to answer some additional questions about where you, what's your nationality, where you come from, where you obtained your qualification. And well, do you want to get advice? This is the step that will probably lead you to us if you have, if you need advice. But if you don't need it, then you will proceed and you will get this information about your profession. So you can see who is the competent authority on the right side, and on the left side, you see the profession of general nurse is regulated in Germany. So there's always a description of the job or the profession and the Anerkennungsportal or this portal recognition in Germany, it states whether a profession is regulated or not. If it's regulated, on the right side, you have this competent authority. You can open the website of this authority and take a look at the criteria, the documents you need to submit for this recognition procedure. There are some additional information about this profession, quick info, as you can see. So there's quite a lot of information you can get or obtain on this website. If you need additional information, sometimes it's there, it's provided, but maybe you don't understand it, you're not sure whether you understand it right. You can, of course, consult us. There's also a link to our advice centers. You can find them in the previous step before you come to this profile of your job or profession. So you can find our advice centers and consult us.
Yeah, thank you for showing us the website of Recognition in Germany. I've posted the link of the website again in the chat, so you can visit it afterwards, or you can also see everything on the presentation. So please make sure you use it, because we have received many questions like qualification is ABZ, for instance, philosophy. It's always important to know in which profession you want to work in order to need to know if it's regulated or not. So coming to the next question, it's about numbers. How much does the recognition process normally cost?
That's again a nice, it depends answer to this question, as we had so many times already. So the minimum, I would say, it starts at 150 euros and it can go up to 600 or 800 euros, depends on the authority. And then you also need to keep in mind, if you need to get things translated, if you need your documents translated, that's additional cost that might come towards. However, if somebody comes to us for a consultation, our consultations are free of cost, so we don't charge anything, but we would inform everyone who comes to us, like, these are the costs that you need to expect if you submit your application, and this is the process and everything that you need to consider.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe additional information for the people who already live in Germany. There's the possibility to get some funds, a recognition grant fund. I don't know. Maybe you can Google it. If you're living in Germany, then there are some possibilities to get your costs funded or granted by some institutions in Germany. This is also only possible for people who are already in Germany and not living outside.
Okay, thanks. We have also received some questions on partial recognition. So those people who only received partial recognition, are they still able to enter Germany? And if yes, what are the options for those?
Yes, they are still able to enter Germany. Then again, it depends on whether you work in a regulated profession. If you are in a regulated profession and you have a partial recognition notice, there's something that you still need to achieve before you have the permit to the license to work in Germany. If you are from the other professions, so say, for example, you're an electrician and you have received the partial recognition, or you're a carpenter or cook and you have received the partial recognition, then you are already allowed to work in Germany, because practical exposure, practical on-the-job training might be part of your deficit. So there it's not that much of a problem. And there also, from my experience of speaking with German companies, it is important that you have a recognition notice, but if you have a partial recognition and you maybe have just a small deficit or that you can cover up for in 4 months, that's not super important for the companies. They want to see what you're able to do, what you're able to work on, what are your skills, what are your experiences. That's much more important when they are hiring you.
Thank you. What is also about degrees from universities in the EU? Is it also required to have a degree from a university to, for instance, France or Italy, to be listed as comparable in NME?
If you need a visa, I would say, then you need a proof that your recognition, that your diploma is recognized. But usually EU diplomas are recognized, except they are from private universities.
Yes, thank you. And also, I think if you want to work in a regulated profession, you will also need a recognition, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Also, I have to admit, we're receiving so many questions. It's hard to get through it. But I think the one also common question which I can browse here through is about the language requirements when applying for the. I know you have already mentioned it before, but maybe you can again clarify it. Is it possible to apply for the recognition if you still don't know German, or is it necessary? Because we're still receiving this question up to this time.
Leila, do you want to answer this time? Because I already said it in my words. Maybe it's good if you can say it in your words this time.
Depends, you mean? Yes, well, it depends really on the competent authority. Usually, when it comes to regulated professions, you have to have a proof of a certain language level. Usually, you can submit your application for recognition, but you can't get your recognition before you have a certain level. But there's also quite there are some differences, depends really on the profession, on some competent authorities. There are a few I know of that really don't allow to submit your application before you have proof of your language skills. But in most cases, I would say it's possible to start the recognition process, but you can end it without the certificate or the proof of language.
Okay, yeah, again, thank you for the clarification. I think this is a really important information for the participants today to get the basics straight. I maybe want to share something with the audience, because we're also receiving a lot of some frustrated messages, I think, about people who have started looking for a job in Germany but still didn't receive an invitation or work contract. Unfortunately, the job hunting process in Germany takes a long time. It's not unusual. It takes about half a year in order to score a job in Germany. So my tip would be here to be patient. At this point, I know there is a shortage of skilled workers, but still the processes are comparatively slow in Germany. You can always ask at the employer or the company and ask for feedback if you haven't received any answer at all. And please also visit the ZAB's website. They also offer consulting on the job search process. And I can post you the link to the ZAB here again. So if you need advice or tips consulting on this topic, you can also go there. And also I will post a link to our webinar on the job hunting process. So sorry for this small other information, because we're receiving questions from many topics. I don't know. Okay. Is it mandatory that after reaching Germany, we have to work in the same profession for which we got recognition, or are we allowed to work also in another profession?
You are allowed to work in another profession. It's not necessary.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, some have already used the recognition finder, and there's a question. Some occupations have limited reference occupation at the recognition finder. How to deal with this?
This probably means that you haven't quite identified yet what exactly is your reference profession. Again, this is built on the German education system, the German way of how we classify jobs or professions. And the German equivalent is not always just like an easy translate into an English or whatever your native language is. You might really have to go and see like what are these tasks, what are the responsibilities and skills that this person would have in this job. And is this really exactly what I'm doing over here? Or is it might be a little bit different, or is there maybe a different profession that would be a much better match for me? But my online translating tool didn't give me that. So there I would give the recommendation to go back to the beginning, look at the right reference profession, and then you would have the better options also on the Anerkennung in Deutschland portal.
Thank you for the clarification. Okay, there are also some questions on people using the NRB database. What does it mean if the university is listed at H+-?
Well, Denise said it already in the presentation. If your university is listed as H+-, then you can apply for a statement of comparability, the so-called Zeugnisbewertung.
Okay, thanks. Okay, here's a more specific question. Maybe you can help. If I've done my bachelor's in dentistry and the master's specialization in pediatric dentistry, once my recognition is complete and the approbation exams are cleared, will I be allowed to work in Germany as a general dentist or as a pediatric dentist?
Yes, so you would do the recognition as a general dentist. Once you have the approbation, then you can work on getting your specialization recognized, which is again a process that will take time, and is comparable to recognition where you submit everything that you've learned, and there'll also be a deep checking like what is the content of that what you've learned, and an exam to see whether you really are working as a pediatric dentist. You have the right skills for that. So you would start as a dentist and then also move on to recognition of specialization. This is applicable for academic healthcare, so everyone who's working in dentist, as a doctor, as a vet, or as a pharmacist.
Okay, thank you. Also, a common question was, is there an age limit when applying for the recognition procedure?
There is no age limit. I actually have one example of a person who was 62 or 3 years old. So he applied for recognition and got full recognition. So he moved to Germany to work 3 or 4 more years. So there's no age limit, and you can apply for recognition always.
Thank you. Also, we have received some questions about engineers. They are not sure if they need a recognition of their title or not. Maybe you can clarify that for us.
Yes, sure. So you need a recognition if you want to call yourself a consulting engineer, beratender Ingenieur, with the German title. If you want to work as a normal, say, engineer without the consulting, without the client consultant aspect of it, which will be the case for most engineers, then you don't need a recognition in the sense of a protected title, but you still need a recognition of your qualification that enables you to work in Germany. So say then it's Anerbind is fine, or your ZAB statement of comparability would be fine for that.
Okay, thank you. And we have receiving a lot of questions. I think I've mentioned it before, if your qualification is different than your work experience. I would say maybe you want to say something about this matter, which options are there available for those?
There's a new option.
in the profession they have collected the work experiences in?
There's an option to come to Germany recently, recent option to, if you have one profession, but your work experience is from another field or branch, then you can come to Germany. You don't have to get your profession recognized, but you just have to provide this digital, what is it called, Denise? Information on vocational
Statement on vocational qualification.
Qualification, right? So you just have to prove that you have a qualification which is recognized in your country, and you just have to have a job offer in accordance to your work experience. So you can get a visa for experienced people, work experience based on your work experience. I hope this answers your question. I'm not sure.
Maybe I can also add to that. If you have a degree that is listed on ANABIN and you don't want to work in regulated sector, so for example, you have a bachelor in history, but now you're a very, very talented IT developer and have great skills as a full stack developer, and the German company hires you, then it's also not that important. You just need to see that your bachelor is listed on ANABIN, and then it doesn't matter that you don't work as a, say, history professor, whatever it would be, but in IT, so that would also be fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think the questions are repeating now. Exactly, you should go through the process. Okay, I will post maybe later in the chat the link to the ZAB and the ANABIN database, because there's also some question. What is it? Okay, maybe you can again explain the difference, because there's also a misconception. What is the difference between certificate of evaluation and the professional recognition on the ZAB? So I think the person means the statement of comparability.
So the statement for the vocational qualification, or the statement for, okay. So recognition really compares everything that you have learned and looks at very detailed, like what was the content of your studies or training or vocational qualification, what have you learned, what are the skills that you now have because of it, and also considers your work experience in some cases. So really, really detailed analysis and comparing it to the German standard. The statement on vocational qualification just looks at it as a perspective: is this kind of valid? Is this from the state of the home country recognized, and was it a duration of 2 years? And basically confirms that without looking deeper into the content of the qualification. Yeah, and it depends what is the visa type that you want to go in, which one would be the right for you.
Yes, thank you for the definition. This is quite helpful for the audience. Okay, I think importance. Okay. I think this would be enough for this session, because many questions are now repeating, I think. Now at this point, we will upload this webinar on our YouTube channel. We make sure you get also an email when we've uploaded the webinar, so you can rewatch it, and you can also download the presentation under handouts. Unfortunately, we cannot go into specifics because some questions are quite specific, and as our colleagues already mentioned, they cannot give you individual advice. That's why you have to seek for advisory. I think I'd like to thank you for your time and all your expertise. I think this is a really, really important matter, and looking in the chat on how many questions, I think it's really important to get some basic information and also some helpful links on where to seek further advice. Thank you so much for participating today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to present our project and the services, and I hope we could clarify some questions.
Of course you did. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Tschüss.